In 1984, James Cameron's Terminator predicted a future where machines would wipe out humanity. Now, a recent report prepared by Gladstone AI says that AI poses an extinction-level threat to humanity. This report, titled Defense in Depth, was prepared for the US State Department. It's been in the works for 6 months now. Now, AI might seem to be like all technology. It's a double-edged sword. It has its benefits and its hazards, but it's the edginess of AI that has everyone worried. Will AI wipe out humanity? Joining me to discuss this today are Kanish Gaur, Siddharth Pai, Srinath Sridharan, and my colleague Sridhar Ramakrishnan in the studio. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. I want to start by asking you, Srinath, this point from the report, extinction level threat to humanity, and the US must intervene, it says. How worried should we be? Is it just scaremongering?
Sandeep, I don't know whether we should be worried about AI or US trying to regulate the global AI. I think both are equally higher risks there.
Right.
And in this reading this report, AI seems to be the new governmental clickbait, which would then give authority to governments, especially the US government, as the report wants it to kind of do almost what it wants to do.
Right.
But again, let me step back. Yes, AI is worrying, but then that's known. So is climate change. We have not done anything about it. So was AIDS when it was first discovered. We have kind of overcome that. And so is malaria in large parts of the globe.
Right.
So I think the human's ability to forestall a doom from risks is what governments have to worry about. But my fear is, I think we are kind of using AI as a broad brush to almost include everything, which includes government's incompetence as well.
Right, right. It's a sweeping, a bunch of things that you've mentioned, threats, Sri, the fact that, malaria, AIDS, you didn't mention the pandemic, and of course,
climate change as well.
Climate change as well, right? Do you think we're making too much out of this, that the AI scare? Is it something like Srinath was saying, it's to scare people and get the government to step in and regulate this technology?
So, Sandeep, this is not the first report that's warning us of that humanity will be wiped out by AI. And I suspect it won't be the last report that comes out. Right. In fact, if you remember when the dust up at OpenAI happened in November last year, I had actually written a blog for our website, news9live.com, where I had suggested that there should be a pause on AI while the governments actually factor in and look at what's really happening. That was a time when the US administration had issued an executive order asking the companies developing the frontier models to submit their applications for testing, right? And one of the reasons why the whole drama played out at OpenAI at that time, I suspect, Sandeep, was the very issue of artificial general intelligence, which is the holy grail for the AI industry in some sense. Because right now, what we witnessing with the generative AI is essentially a smart system, but it's not anywhere close to human intelligence.
Yeah, it's a chatbot.
Literally, it's a predictor of the next word.
Yes.
That's what it does.
Right.
So with AGI, what we'll see is machines capable of beating human intelligence.
Right.
At that point, how will these systems behave?
Yes.
Will they even be in control of human creators?
Right.
That is, I think, the big question. And for years now, at least since 2020, when AI and generative AI reach some sort of a tipping point, there are a lot of independent voices that have been emerging across the world who have been voicing this concern about the risk of AGI to humanity. So I suspect there is some concern. We should not dismiss it outright.
Right.
We definitely do need guardrails as far as AI, software and AI applications are concerned, because we've already seen there are many instances of what even something as simple as generative AI can do in the hands of people who want to cause problem.
Yes.
Right. So it's like any other weapon.
Right.
This can be weaponized, very easily.
Right.
So I think the current state of AI, will that make humanity extinct? I don't think so.
Right.
But is it reasonable to expect that we may reach a time when AGI actually becomes too powerful and beyond the control of its human creators? I think that's quite possible.
It's quite possible. And in fact, Siddharth, I want to bring you in on this because you're looking at the industry very closely. You know, this report mentions, I mean, all the words that Sri mentioned, especially WMDs, that figures very prominently in this. Do you think it's a little too early to be crying wolf in the case of AI, or is it, as Sri mentioned, is it a threat in being? Is it something that we really need to be worried about? Especially these frontier labs that are pushing technology, you know, the kind of human-like capabilities that they want to give AI. What are your thoughts on this?
No, I think so. Innovation has always outstripped regulation. I think the greatest example of this is what's happening with AI as of now, where even the regulators and governments across the world are trying to figure out how exactly do we regulate this? How does copyright law, patent law, agency for that matter end up actually coming? It's become this sort of massive black box that nobody can end up figuring out. Even the creators of these systems for that matter, even Google DeepMind has said, we have no idea how it actually does the things that it does. It can at best give you a possible theory, but we have no actual explanation for the same. So it has actually become an imminent issue that is there for that matter. Now, what becomes important over here is in the absence of any specific laws, if there is misuse of AI, how can that misuse actually be prosecuted as of now? We have actually seen that in this particular year, especially for that matter, there are no less than 34 different countries, I believe, across the world who are actually undertaking general elections as of now, let alone the local elections, state elections, etc. And we've seen the rampant level of AI-generated content and the Gen AI output that's actually flooding the entire world. Deepfakes have actually become a part and parcel of daily vocabulary. So how do we do that? How do we trace it? How do we inform the public as to how to discern between something that's AI-generated versus something that's actually written as of now? There would actually be larger consequences at stake. So is it a very alarmist view that they've actually put about? I believe they've actually used shocking language just because the world is actually desensitized as now and needs a kind of shock. But there is an urgent and imminent need for regulators and innovators to actually come onto the table and figure out a paradigm that can end up actually regulating and sort of governing what this ends up happening. In the absence of that, nobody can wait for misuse to end up happening. And some of these, mind you, will have real world ramifications. If you end up actually seeing a tweet or a manufactured video of the CEO of a listed company actually making loose statements, stock prices fall. If you recall when X, which was previously Twitter, allowed people to end up taking blue ticks without any verification, Eli Lilly stock fell because some guy paid $8 and he actually managed to wipe out $23 to $24 billion of value at an instant itself. So we do need regulation. It's not as alarmist as making out to be, but time is actually of the essence as of now.
Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.